Denial.
Well, nothing untoward happened.
Pass it. Bodied. Oh my gosh. Boy,
Wow,
get bodied.
bro.
Alright, he's literally stucking me, just draining my stamina.
I just clicked Y. Did you
That
see that?
looks
It
like
went to
a
myself.
glitch.
It
Yeah.
might be on for them.
Oh,
A terrific
It
pass.
worked.
perfect. Let's
Oh,
go.
he's at a touch of finesse.
I just don't think I was gonna make it from a banger from that angle. Holy crap. They didn't even take the goalie out either.
Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is Lesky here, back to another FIFA 21 Pro Clubs player build for you guys today, and in this video we have for you a Frenkie de Jong center mid build. I got quite a bit of de Jong requests in my comments under my YouTube videos, so a lot of y'all were wanting to see a de Jong center mid build, and for the height and weight of this build we went for 5'10", 149 pounds. De Jong on FIFA is listed as 5'11", so I decided to go for 5'10", since there's no point of going for 5'11", since you can be 6 foot with the same exact stats as being 5'11", so you might as well be an inch taller. So instead of going for 6 foot, I decided to go with 5'10", just a little bit shorter, basically just to give us some more pace. And then I ended up opting for the 149-pound weight section, because when you go for a 149 and the pace that I have listed on this skill tree, it'll get us to an even acceleration and even sprint speed, exactly like de Jong has on all of his cards. So like, he doesn't have a higher acceleration or a higher sprint speed. They're exactly even on all of his cards. So that's what we went for as well, and 149 pounds at 5'10" will get us an even sprint speed and acceleration. In Ultimate Team this year, de Jong actually has 2 cards that I can look at when making this build on this skill tree. He is an 87 rated inform, which is a pretty decent comparison since this build is an 89 rated center mid, so it's kind of close. And then he also has a really boosted card, his Team of the Season card for doing really good in La Liga, the Spanish league, this season. He has a 94 rated center mid card, and every single stat is 90 or higher except for his shooting stats. So that card's going to be really hard to copy. What we can do is make a lower version. It's not going to be as high stat, obviously, since we don't have as much skill points to work with in pro clubs. I wish they could give you extra skill points as the year progressed. I would think that would be a pretty cool addition to pro clubs, but unfortunately they don't really touch pro clubs at all, and hopefully that'll change in the future in other FIFAs. We can only keep our fingers crossed for that. But yeah, like I said, de Jong's 94 rated card has a bunch of really high rated stats that we're not going to be able to touch. So basically I just did my best to make a pro clubs version of de Jong. So if you're here on this body page, make sure you're listed as 5'10", 149 pounds, and you'll be good to go for the body type on this build. And now we can move on to the skill tree for de Jong. Over here on this Frenkie de Jong playstyle screen, you can see we're listed as a center mid, 5'10", 149 pounds, and left-footed. But the only reason I'm lefty is because my actual character is Di Maria, and he's lefty in real life. De Jong is actually righty in real life, so if you want to be more accurate, go for the right foot. It's really just preference what foot you'd like to be. And then, like I said earlier, this overall for this build is an 89, so it's pretty solid rating for a center mid build. And now let's move on to the skill tree, where we will start with the physical page. And as you guys can see on this physical page, we went all the way down to the bear claw. We didn't get the jumping focus, but we wanted to just focus on getting more strength on all of de Jong's cards, except for his high rated card. Like, his 94 rated card has an absurd amount of strength. It has 90 strength, which is something really way too high that we're not going to be able to even get close to in pro clubs, especially for a center mid build, since their physical stats aren't the greatest except like their jumping and stamina. But like I said, I looked at his 87 rated inform card, the next lowest rated card after that 94 rated card, and that's a really good comparison because it shows us that he has 76 strength and 78 jumping with 92 stamina and 72 aggression. So he has in the mid 70s for strength, 76. So we just decided to settle for 75. It's close enough. And as you guys can see, the actual numbers that for your stats are the ones on the left. You're not going to be looking at the ones on the right. Like, if you're looking at strength and it says 75, even though it has 100% going to 76, for some weird reason, it doesn't register your stats as being 76. you still have 75 strength, if that makes sense. So it's always the numbers on the left that you're going to be looking at for the correct stats, even if it says 100%. So that's a good bit of information if you guys don't know that yet. So don't forget to add this strength advanced focus for that +3 strength and get this De Jong build to mid 70s in strength, which will be exactly 75. And then on this right section, since I didn't use this build as playing as an any, I just controlled this build the entire time. I wasn't playing any. I made sure to have the second wind because I was using this build kind of like a box-to-box center mid build, because that's basically what it is. It might be a little bit more defensive than a normal box-to-box, not the craziest going forward and shooting, but it still can be used as a box-to-box build. And even if you weren't using it as a box-to-box build, just more of a defensive build, I would still recommend having the second wind, especially if you are not playing any. But if you are playing any, what I would actually do is just take off the second wind, and you could possibly even take off this stuff too if you don't want this extra jumping. I would just keep this one for +2 jumping for 1 skill point. You might as well. Even though De Jong doesn't have a lot of jumping on his cards, it's just nice to have good jumping for a midfielder to win those 50-50 balls. So if you want to use this build as an any, feel free to take off this, or you could just take off the second wind if you feel like and just add it to the jumping focus, which will just give you a little bit more physical. Or you could add it to something on dribbling, passing, or shooting, or possibly even pace. If you take off all these skill points, you could add it to even more pace if you'd like. So you have a little bit of an advantage if you are going to use this build as an any, because you have a little bit of extra skill points to work with. But I'm going to have the second wind on and keep that on because that's what I use the entire time while using this build. And now we can move on to the defending section. And over here, as you guys can see, we went for a pretty good amount of upgrades on the defensive section. As a center mid, their defensive base stats are like all in the 70s, as you guys can see. So we wanted to bump that up a bit, because looking at De Jong's 87 rated card again, he is 80 defending, which is something that we're going to be like really close to once we get it upgraded. So I basically just tried to copy this 87 rated card when it comes to defending. He has 86 interceptions, 80 stand tackling, and 81 slide tackling. So when we put these defensive upgrades that I had on, you guys will see the defensive stats get a lot better. And then they're all pretty much 80 or higher, except for the defensive awareness, which we can't control, which just base stats for a center mid. And in comparison to his 87 rated card, he has 86 interceptions compared to our 85. He has 80 stand tackling exactly. We have 80. And then he has 81 slide tackling, and we actually have 80 as well. So it really just looks like we are 1 interception off and 1 slide tackle off. So in my book, I think that's actually really close and almost exactly accurate. I don't think 1 slide tackle or 1 interception is going to make much of a difference anyways. So these upgrades will basically allow your build to be a little bit more of a defensive presence on the field. You should be able to get some good interceptions, some clean stand tackles and slide tackles with this build, even though it's not like a wing back or a CDM build and have like crazy defensive stats like high 80s or even in the 90s. We tried to upgrade it somewhat to a respectable amount, and it's almost exactly the same as what De Jong has on one of his cards in Ultimate Team. So I'm pretty happy for how this defensive page turned out. And now let's head on to dribbling. So when adding skill points to the dribbling page, we use that 87 rated De Jong inform card, again just to kind of compare his dribbling stats. And they actually came out very similar. We have an exact 85 agility and 81 balance that he has. He has 90 ball control and 89 dribbling. We have 89 ball control, so 1 less ball control, but 92 dribbling. We actually have +3 dribbling on him, so that's pretty good. So actually, exact same agility and balance, 1 less ball control, and +3 dribbling. So the stats are pretty much spot on, basically the closest you're going to get. And as you guys can see, we just left off the balance and the balance specialty on this left side, and that's what gets us to that exact 81 balance. And I decided to go actually 4 5-star skills. I know De Jong doesn't have 5-star skills on Ultimate Team. He has 4-star skills, so if y'all want, y'all could just go for the 4-star skills. And I believe he has the flare trait, so that's why we made sure to get the flare trait. And as a midfielder, I really like the flare trait. So I wanted to have that anyways, and I just added to add on the 5-star skills. So if you don't want the 5-star skills and just want to go with the 4-star skills, what I would do is just add it onto this ball control focus, which will up your dribbling quite a bit and make you feel even better on the ball. or you could just add it onto the shooting section, since the shooting section is the weakest on this build. So I would definitely suggest either adding it onto ball control focus, which would still give you one extra skill point to work with, or just adding it all onto shooting. But I'm just going to have the 5-star skills. I'm a really big fan of 5-star skills. If y'all don't know by now, y'all should know, since I pretty much mention it in all of my videos, just because it's a lot more fun, in my opinion, to play with 5-star skills. Your guy can basically just do a lot more stuff, which makes it really unpredictable for the players trying to defend you, because they don't know what you're going to do. You have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. But that looks like we covered everything on this dribbling page. Now let's head over to the passing section, where we actually have a decent upgrades, not too much since the center mid base passing stats are already very solid. So what you're going to want to do, since their long passing is already really good, you're just going to want to try and focus on the short passing. Since you have 85 short pass base stats, and then you have 89 long pass, you're going to want to bump that up. So we're going to go down to this 4th short pass. So this will get us to 91 short passing, and then what we do on this right side, this will give you 1 long passing to 90 long passing, and then these are just kind of some extra skill points to work with, and also just get the curve up kind of to what De Jong has on this 87 rated card. And that'll get us to 87 curve and get us a respectable curve number. And just comparing it to that 87 rated inform card I've been looking at, his passing stats, he has 90 vision, 94 short pass, and 90 long pass. We have a 91 vision, 90 long pass, and 91 short pass. So he has a little like +3 short pass on us, but that's fine. It's not going to make much of a difference. We have the same long pass, and we have +1 vision on him. He has 79 crossing compared to our 82 crossing. And then he also has 88 curve, so he has a lot of curve. So that's the main reason why we actually added this extra curve right here, +3 curve for 2 skill points to get us to 87 curve, and only 1 off of his 88 curve. The passing stats on this De Jong build are very well rounded, and is a very solid passing build. This will be it for the passing section. It is very accurate to that De Jong inform card, and now let's move on to shooting. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I said the shooting page was the worst section on this De Jong build. De Jong's shooting stats on all of his cards are his lowest section. Like I said, his high rated card, he has all 90 stats on every section except for only 85 shooting. So I decided to go for the 4-star weak foot on Ultimate Team on all of De Jong's cards except for his highest rated one, his Team of the Season card. He only has 4-star skills, 3-star weak foot. But on that high rated card, they actually boosted his weak foot up to 4-star weak foot. So he'll have 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot, which is why I went for the upgrade on the skills. I went for 5-star skills, but we made sure to keep that 4-star weak foot as well to have 5-star, 4-star. And although this weak foot will help you on the shooting section, even though we don't have great shooting stats, but it'll also help you on your passes. Like, you can feel free to hit a long ball on your left foot if you have to, because it's not like it's a 3-star weak foot or anything to where you're not too sure if it's going to be a crazy accurate pass with your weak foot. And also, like I mentioned earlier, for those people that don't want the skills or are playing any with this build and are going to take some of those skill points off, like the second wind and extra stamina, you could add it to the shooting section. I would add it to like shot power and finishing, just to get your once you actually get in the box and get a chance, just to get a little bit more comfortable that your guy will actually finish it and put it in like the corner. And then also it's pretty clutch to just get some shot power up, even if they're not the most accurate shots. Sometimes if you have a little bit more shot power, it can kind of just overpower the goalies. But as a center mid, their base stats don't, like the shooting stats aren't very solid. They're kind of just average. So if you're really wanting to make your shooting good on this build, you're gonna have to upgrade it. But I decided not to make like the focal point of this build like offense and shooting, because that's just not De Jong's playstyle. He's a really good dribbler and passer, and he's pretty physical and has some good defensive capabilities. And shooting's just not the top category in his portfolio. So we just kind of left off a lot of the shooting stats. So not a lot to talk about on the shooting page. Let's head over to the last section, which will be pace. So I said the pace could get upgraded even more if you have some extra skill points to work with, like the people playing any. If you want, you could add some of those skill points to either +2 sprint speed or +2 acceleration. But I settled for the 85 acceleration, 85 sprint speed on this build. When you leave off these bottom two, the bottom left and the bottom right, the sprint speed and acceleration, it gets you to an even amount of sprint speed of 85, 85. And on all of De Jong's cards, like I mentioned earlier, he has an even acceleration and sprint speed. On that 87 rated uniform, he has 82 acceleration and 82 sprint speed. And then on his high 94 rated card, he has 92 acceleration and 92 sprint speed. So a lot of sprint speed on that card, which we can't get that high on pro clubs for this height and weight. It's actually pretty solid. Like, you're not the fastest, obviously, and you could get up to 87, 87 if you really wanted to. But it's really just because De Jong's cards are really well-rounded, and we need to spread skill points around on the shooting, passing, dribbling, defending, and physical page. It's just almost impossible to get the full pace upgrade and still have it really well-rounded on all the other sections. So I just settled for the 85-85, which is actually faster than all of De Jong's cards except for that 94 rated card. So that's not too bad. And then this is going to wrap it up for this Frenkie de Jong center mid build, guys. Let me know in the comments if you do give it a try and how it went for you. I'd love to hear that. Hit the like button on this video to help me out for that YouTube algorithm. And also smash that subscribe button on my channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching. You have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.